Welcome, Atlanta United family. Once again, here, probably like what 24 hours in between, which I don't think we've ever done this before, but it
Emergency
was
podcast. Emergency podcast.
exactly that's what it felt like, man. There's a lot of news that came out, from Atlanta United official page today. Mm, First, we want to go well, eventually how it first started, with the announcement this morning that American Family Insurance had agreed to a multi-year deal with Atlanta United to basically have a annual match, which will have Atlanta United play against top foreign clubs at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And that match, the first match, is going to be held June 14th against the Mexican club Pachuca at 7:30, obviously Eastern time. It will be broadcasted on Bally Sports and throughout
Atlanta United's website.
yeah. I mean,
It'll be blacked
it's
out though, so I can't watch it. That's what's going to
exactly, man.
happen.
That's the only thing, man. Those Bally Sports games. I mean, the same thing. I don't know why at the beginning of the season it was letting ESPN, wasn't having the blackout or whatever. But now the last game, it did it for me. I wasn't able to watch the DC game. I had to watch some bootleg thing stream on YouTube, but
We could
it
talk
was
about 10 minutes about Bally Sports and why I hate it.
yeah.
I have a whole understanding of how that all went down, and it's so shady. But we'll bring that for another day. Let's have the funeral here.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean that's gonna be a pretty big, a pretty interesting match, overall for Atlanta, basically halfway through the season. Uh it is gonna, put them in the perspective like, all right, either they're up there or trying to compete, with these teams, with the foreign teams. I mean, Pachuca at this point, I mean, they're in the second division in Mexico. They're not even in the first division. So it's not like they're one of the top teams at the moment in Mexico, but historically, I mean, they're one of the biggest teams in the Mexican league without a doubt.
Does it have to be
So
Liga MX teams like going
I
forward?
don't know. It doesn't have to be. I mean, so what the Atlanta United, they came out with on their website, it says that they will see Atlanta United play against top foreign clubs, which I mean that doesn't mean that eventually we won't see them against a European team or a South American team. I would love to see, man, a freaking Boca Juniors or a River Plate, play at Mercedes Benz, dude, or a Premier League club, a Bundesliga club, man. That would definitely be fun to see.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, what if because like a lot of these Premier League teams do summer tours
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
States. So what if Manchester United comes into town and they wanna, they're setting their schedule and they're like, let's set some friendlies up, and Atlanta reaches out and says, come on down, come on to the Benz, let's play a game.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
it is. I think that won't be an exception. Like where they're just gonna say we're gonna play clubs from South America or from Mexico. I think it'll be a little bit more diverse, honestly.
yeah, it'd be fun to see some other teams because I would assume they'd get out of a Liga MX after next year because we're going to be playing them anyway,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah. I
we
mean, next
won't be
year,
playing
yeah.
for them, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So
I mean, I feel like I don't know if it's just Atlanta. I haven't heard of any other teams having like friendlies, between or like during the summer or anything. I feel like they will, but they're I feel like they, or at least if they're smart enough, like the top teams, will start to trying to kind of prepare, for that, to basically not gonna say play against the best, because I mean Liga MX is not the best league in like all of the Americas either. But I mean, I feel like they're pretty good to the point where it's definitely a challenge for MLS, to compete for them. I mean, we've always seen that in CONCACAF Champions League, so it's gonna be hopefully a good pairing, or at least the top teams are gonna at least take it serious. I feel like going into next year, or even before that, right now.
All right. Well, T's asking who's hurt, so let's get to it. Take our hats off here, and
Yeah, man. So when it's now, going into the injury report that came out this afternoon, I mean, we
what an injury
saw.
report! Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I gotta talk shit here for a minute. I gotta say something. Doug
go ahead, man.
Robertson,
Let it
po-
out.
he posts this article all about Joseph Martinez. It's like 3 paragraphs about Joseph Martinez, and I get right in the middle of it, and it says Alonso tears what ACL. I think the AC tore his ACL, and I
Yeah,
keep reading, and then like I stopped like almost at the end of the article, and I went, wait a minute, and I started over, and then it was like buried in one line. Alonso also tore his ACL, and I'm thinking to myself, and like timetable, not sure. It's like he's done for the year.
yeah,
Absolutely, he's done for the year. What on earth are we talking about? That like that should be the headline. I know Joseph's the big deal. He's our big player and all this, but like included in the subject, like I was amazed that that wasn't like the main, like it should be a picture of Alonso because we're not seeing him again probably ever. I mean, this is probably his last MLS match. You got to think like some of his age and recovering from
yeah.
that.
Definitely,
Like,
definitely. I was also thinking of that as well. I mean, the fact that he's not a young guy or anything, like he's not even in his mid 20s or late 20s. I mean, the guy is 30s, or so it's definitely going to be tough, given the fact that, I mean, he's been pretty solid, in my opinion. Him, Gutman have been like great, great,
MVPs.
yeah, like great reinforcements for Atlanta United, and for see one of them go down without a fact, that is going to be a big factor going into the next games, or the rest of the season, honestly.
I mean, Alonso's, that guy that I think that when you got to the playoffs, and we talked about this at the beginning of the season, he's the guy that I would make a very hard decision whether I would start Sosa or Alonso because Alonso's that veteran type player that I think that this team needed. And we talked about it after the
Hmm.
first game.
Yeah.
Like he was an immediate, you immediately noticed him on the pitch when he came out, like when he started. And it was just so nice to watch him. He was like the Lorenowitz type. He was rough. I mean, he definitely has almost gotten a couple reds off of some of
Mhm.
his tackles there, but it's uh it's something, man. Like it's definitely interesting to see, what this team does here because he was a steal in our salary cap, right? Like he is like he was nothing. Like he's the Kubo. He was our Kubo replacement. So like I don't even think
Yeah.
he even counted towards the salary cap. So I don't know exactly how this works. I think we've dealt with this twice. We dealt with this with Hyman, that was after the transfer window, and we dealt with Joseph literally like days into the season, right? Like the second day of the season, he tears he tears his ACL.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Like I think you could probably just replace like this player. I would think like you just get the spot back, and you could probably get another minimum player like this. And I'm sure there's some guys not playing right now that you'd be able to get, but nobody that has the what we had with Alonso. I think that he was a steal. In the salary cap league like this, he was absolutely amazing. So it's sad, but I gotta wonder if he starts coaching this year. Like I know he can't play, and I always thought that was the plan. Maybe like Pineda came in, player, coach, assistant coach, and then went up, and now we're here. So I don't know. I think it's just it's definitely interesting to think about what Alonso could be, but I definitely think you're going to see him on the sidelines after he has his surgery, and maybe he's going to be able to do some coaching. But let's keep going. Let's move to the next guy. Let's
Yeah,
the least
now we
depressing
have
one.
we have Rossetto, which he's gonna be out for
Two to
2 to
four.
4 weeks due to a hamstring injury. Honestly, I felt like his injury was a little bit more serious. Honestly, Alonso, and I didn't say anything, or but I figure it was something serious, man. And given the fact that he actually went back into the game after that, it showed me like, man, this man's got some fucking balls, honestly, man. But immediately after he went down, like you could tell, like I've seen a lot of like ACL injuries, man. Whether it's soccer related, football, basketball, and like the way that his leg got like caught, basically while it was basically planted. And even I seen it myself, with a couple of guys like pretty much next to me that I've been playing with. So it's I saw somewhat of the severity of what the injury was, but with Rossetto, it's a different. At least you get him back. Within a couple of games. Um,
Yeah, and
it's
again, we
nice.
talked about this easy schedule. Easy, like
Yeah,
we have a very light schedule. And Sadic was, he could play that position. I
Sosa's
mean,
coming back now, so I mean,
well, I
we'll
mean,
definitely
Sosa's going to
probably see.
play Alonso. I mean, I think he's going to take Alonso's spot there.
Ibarra's also got. I mean, I was surprised he got some minutes against DC this past weekend.
Yeah, he's ready. They're talking about Hyman going to the USL, right?
Yeah.
So I think that he's going to get some time down there to start off. So you've got some replacements for sure. But the real question is who's going to score goals? Not Jackson Conway.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he probably didn't have his best game this past weekend, but I mean, he did a good enough job to basically at least not mess things up, what I mean, because there's at times where you see like a player basically come in and try to do too much and lose possession of the ball and a turnover, and it leads to a goal or a goal scoring opportunity. At least we didn't see that. That's one of the main things that and even I've actually seen this many a times where guys get asked, especially coming off the bench, and you hear all these people interview them like, what is why is what's the difference, like of coming off the bench and all this, and they're like, all right, well, it's a matter of like coming in and not messing things up, like not coming basically into the same rhythm as the team or more, but not messing things up, like there, because without a doubt there's times where you see a player come in and just be a complete disaster. And I feel like Conway can be he's not starter material in my opinion, but he can definitely be that guy, that rotational, rotation forward, basically that's gonna be there for Atlanta United, hopefully, throughout the whole season, and hopefully he's able to get some goals, in the first team. Um,
Well, hold on, I'll stop you there. I guess we didn't say this, so anyone's joining in. Joseph Martinez is in Pittsburgh right now, and he is getting his leg checked on from the surgeon that did all the surgeries. Like he had multiple surgeries
mhm.
last season, and what we didn't know is he had a surgery right before the season. Like I don't know, like I think in December. So he had like surgeries earlier in 2020. What 2020? I think
21. Yeah,
21.
21.
No, 2020. Yeah, it was right when COVID started. He had the surgery in 2020. Yeah, that checks out because he played last season. So, but yeah, we were saying so either in like December or January, he had another knee surgery, probably to clean up some stuff, and that's why he was so slow to start off the season last year. And he felt something in the match over the weekend on Saturday, and they got taken off. And honestly, I thought that it was just that was the plan. I listened to the full time report, and Jeff Loreno had said, I think that was the plan the whole time was to only play him 60 because he had to travel back and forth. I think he only played one match for Venezuela,
Mhm.
but he had to go back and forth. And I thought it was nothing. But then when the news came out, I mean, this is concerning. He's been very
It is.
adamant that he wants another contract. And this literally could be the moment where if something's wrong, if something's seriously wrong with him, Joseph Martinez might retire. Like, because he talked about it last year. Like, He said he was
Hmm.
very close to retirement. We don't know if he would be available or if he would want to do another rehab to just get back onto the field or not. Like we don't know that, and this is me just being dramatic here, but I think we should prepare for this. Like this is a possibility because he was very adamant when he came back from that when everything was going down with Heinze and he like just spilled his guts to the world. He mentioned that there was a chance that he might not come back. And Aruju, I mean, he should be coming back soon. That definitely is a something that was supposed to already happen. I mean, there was talks that he was supposed to come back this week, yeah,
Yeah,
right after the
yeah,
national break. But they said that they're taking their time with him, so you might be able to see an appearance maybe this week, and maybe they try to hurry it a little bit with Joseph likely not playing. I would assume he's not playing unless everything gets checked out perfect. But I assume here that if it's not season ending, it's probably rest. It's probably a lot of rest. So you could
yeah.
possibly see him rest for the rest of the month. I mean, it's all speculating here. I mean, I personally would just say prepare for the worst here. That'd be my
Yeah, I
opinion.
mean, there's definitely a lot of worry. I mean, I personally, even with that, with one of the Twitter groups, we were talking about this earlier. I mean, or I mentioned it earlier, the fact that, Joseph may like, I mean, we haven't really seen him close to even 70%, to what he was. And given the fact that, with everything that you said, he's not I don't feel like he would be committed enough to want to, deal with a long process of recovery, uh, unless he's really, really committed. Which I don't know, man. He may maybe we're just speculating, the worst case scenario, but yet again, you have to prepare for something like that. And you still have that U22 spot available, which you could bring in a young forward that's got the potential basically. um and it would, at the end, hopefully end up working out to the point where like you have a young guy that's gonna end up building that you can build off of basically, because what, ever since we had Joseph, honestly, since the beginning of the franchise, it's been basically all about him, even though there's been other players, like Almiron, like
Pity,
Yeah,
Barco.
yeah, Barco, exactly, like now even but everything just seems like to, levitate about, or to be talked about Joseph basically. But uh it has to get to that point where yeah, you have to get worried, honestly. And these tests that he's getting done, I mean, honestly, I don't know how quick um
Should be quick. Like
the
unless
mi-
it'll be
I
quick.
don't know how quick they will be to come out with the results. I mean, maybe we'll get something tomorrow, or within the next 48 hours or so. But honestly, it's kind of not scary, but it's like you're kind of really nervous on like what it could turn out to be for Joseph, honestly, within, by the end of the season, or even within the next couple of hours. I mean, it's really tough, honestly, man, because the guy's got the freaking hunger to play, man, and everything, but a damn injury, taking basically all that away from you, man. It's freaking tough, man. It's honestly freaking tough for an athlete, for any athlete.
Yeah, and I mean, you're kidding yourself if last season you watched and even this season, like he hasn't had the burst. He hasn't had the burst since the surgery.
Mm-mm.
Like that was one thing. I
Nah.
mean, Joseph was never fast, but what he did is he definitely was able to when he needed to sprint fast, he sprinted fast. He was able to get a quick uh, burst of speed to get moving or to get around a player. We haven't seen that in
The
years.
change of
And
pace, that's exactly like what it was. Like his change of
yeah,
pace was like the difference maker.
he can turn around and just bolt with the ball, and we haven't seen it. And it's definitely the runs in the box. He's not doing that. When he's getting service, he's getting opportunities. but he can't get around people anymore. Like, he's just not doing that. And sure,
Yeah.
he's been able to give some service and build the play up and move back a little bit, and that's nice, and I like that. But also, he needs to be up there. How many times have we said, like, okay, Aruju's in the box, Moreno's in the box, or Amada's in the box, but Joseph's not in the box, and he's our goal scorer. And I think that they're gonna, at the end of the season, no matter what happens, I mean, we're gonna have to see where it is, because I think, and sorry, Matt, I don't want to talk about this, but I got rid of good old Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan was healthy. And if Joseph can't play, he's your highest paid player in MLS. You can't wait. You can't wait for a guy for 2 years or whatever. If he's not there, he's not there. But again, speculating, just preparing myself mentally for the worst, because sports have just been hell lately for Atlanta, right? Like,
Yeah.
the
Without a doubt.
Braves lost
Freeman, Freddie. Yeah.
I mean, Freeman, but they lost the guy to injury, the pitcher, right? Didn't the pitcher just get injured?
Fuck, I forgot who it was. But
Yeah,
yeah.
you lost the pitcher. John Collins has been hurt for this whole playoff run. He's been out. Matt Ryan's gone. Deshaun Watson almost came here. Another depressing thing. Like, it's been a terrible, like, month for the city of Atlanta in sports. And I don't know, man. Like, this week is huge for this team, and I'm telling you, like, if it's just another thing where he's got to go through another ACL surgery or something, the team has to have a long talk about what their future is, and then we got to have a talk about how you can replace them. Like, we're going to be able to create a roster spot. You got your roster spot, but you don't get your DP slot. You could sign, a minimum type guy, but I mean, we've got how many strikers now? We've got Conway. We've got Orlando guy. Can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Dom Dwyer.
Yeah, Dom Red Card Dwyer.
Ronaldo. Yeah. See.
We got Ronaldo, and he showed up. I guess we can talk about that. But there's pictures of him in training, so that's exciting that we got him. But like I told you yesterday, his stats in FIFA suck, so he's gonna have to play above his stats in FIFA. But I mean, I don't know. Like, we don't really know what's going on here, but we've got replacements. We don't know how good they are. We don't know what they could do in the system, and if honestly, giving somebody the start, what they could do. So I'm not going to be overly negative, but we have more choices than we did in 2020, right? I think that's one thing we can say. We have more
definitely.
choices.
The depth has definitely changed. I mean, it's not like even with the injuries, we're still able to have a pretty good starting 11. Sosa coming in, Ibarra, or what's the other center midfield? Hyman, whenever he's healthy, we pretty much have a pretty good stacked 11. Starting off, but just going, once we have all these guys, if eventually, Joseph is out, with a long-term injury or something like that, or he's off pretty much for a couple months or the rest of the season. But even so, like I said, we still have that U22 spot, which we can go out and get a young, forward, which I feel like there's a market, in the young, forwards, but it's just a matter of them being hungry enough, to succeed. Honestly, that's what it really comes down to, with these young guys.
And Amada can also. I mean, Amada's played number 9 as well, so he does have experience playing in that. I like him in the midfield. I think that it makes it better, but maybe when Emerson Hyman comes back, and if Joseph is still out, maybe that could be something. I guess we don't know. There's a lot of moving pieces here, and we've talked about it for a while. We have a lot of depth. Can a lot of this depth score? That's still in question. We still have Machop Chol that we haven't seen. We don't know if he's gotten any better. Morini is Morini. He's just a better guy off the bench. I think we all know that. He hasn't been a good starter. I don't think he's really done much when he started a game, but he's good at coming in late. So I mean that's something.
We
So
actually didn't talk about it, but yo, Mulroney, he wasn't the greatest, at playing right back the other day, but I mean he did his job, man. He did his job.
yeah, I mean he was okay. But yeah, I mean we gotta figure this out, and we got some depth here, so let's see what they put together against Charlotte. But this is gonna be an interesting lineup. I don't think we're gonna be able to predict here whether it's Jackson.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. This is really gonna be a lot of questions, whether who comes in or whatever. But
he's got more talent though.
eh,
Let's say Jackson did. I know he had Moreno, and he had Barco, um, but he wasn't getting. I mean, he was getting a couple of chances a game, but I don't really think he didn't get a lot of service last year. I don't think when he did start, I don't think there was a lot of service for him. So he did mess up some chances. He obviously has a desire to play better here. So I'm not sure exactly, what he's capable of, but maybe we give Dom a shot here. When Aruju's back, I mean, that should be enough. And hopefully it opens up the space, because I think we all know that even with Joseph struggling, they still put a lot of pressure on Joseph. The defense, it's all focused. The defense is focused on Joseph. So
yeah,
maybe a little less and focusing on Aruju and Moreno and Almada. Who knows? But this is going to be where Pineda's going to make his money and have to be creative on how to put this lineup together.
yeah. And if honestly, man, if anything, if Atlanta somehow, man, even with all of this, is able to pull off even get a draw, man. Honestly, away from home, and, like I feel like it will be, depending on how the game goes out. Because if you have a team like, if Atlanta goes out and somehow manages the team, has a lot of opportunities and all this, and manages the game well, and is not able to get a good result, then you're like, what the hell, that you should have obviously gotten something a better result. But given the fact that uh they're coming in here, if you could say, quote unquote, a weaker side or a weaker starting 11, um, then, I feel a draw would be a good result, going into or coming into that game. Speaking of the Charlotte game, I have, well, one of my friends here that I actually met. Seriously, he's a good friend that I met from Atlanta, Oscar. Um, Talking about a lot of people coming in from to support ATL on Charlotte, and I don't know if they've posted any information. I just basically was messaging somebody from the guys from Terminus Legion, and I asked them, if they had a tailgate, designated area, basically going into this weekend for the Charlotte game. And the tailgate area for this weekend is going to be at the corner of 4th Street and South Mint, across from the baseball stadium. I looked it up on Google Maps, and I mean, obviously, I mean, I'm not there. I mean, the best, or the location that I actually got for that was 124 South Polar Street, which, like, and like the guy mentioned on the message, that is basically across from the baseball field, which is down the road from Bank of America Stadium, like a couple blocks, I think like 2 or 3 blocks, if I'm not mistaken. But that's basically the designated area for the Atlanta supporters that are going to be going to the Charlotte game this weekend.
Well, have fun if you're going.
Yeah,
I'll be
man.
at the airport watching the game, wearing my Atlanta jersey in Orlando, and probably getting a lot of middle fingers. And I am ready for those middle fingers.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Hey, last thing, man, before we head out, and I know this is not Atlanta United related, but I mean, obviously, if it deals with the U.S. men's national team, then our boy Miles obviously is involved in it. But to what I'm seeing here online, it's saying that Uruguay, it's reportedly trying to play a friendly against the U.S. National team and Mexico in June, and both of those games obviously will be played in the U.S. So I mean that's pretty big for the U.S. I mean it will be a pretty big game, going into going into the World Cup. I mean Uruguay is without a doubt one of the best teams in the world, in my opinion. I mean
Yeah.
they fucking fight for those games, man.
Well, didn't I thought I read it might have been Mexico. It's either Mexico or the US that like they want to do two friendlies in California. I thought
Yeah,
that's
I
what I
know
read.
one of those. It was actually before the World Cup draw, if I'm not mistaken. They actually already had somewhat planned out the that Mexico was going to be playing Argentina in LA. But once Argentina ended up getting drawn in the same group as Mexico, I guess the Argentinian Federation was like trying to like basically cancel the game or whatever, but then the Mexican Federation wanted to still go ahead through it. I mean, it's still up, like whether it's going to be played or not, to what I saw, in social media. But it's still up in the air, honestly. But if it doesn't turn out to be like that, where Mexico doesn't play Argentina, I mean, even or Argentina or Uruguay, I mean, dude, those are hell of opponents for the U.S. going into the World Cup.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Well, I gotta go pack. I will finish packing. I gotta
I
be
feel
at the
you, man.
airport. So
Hey,
let's hope for good, positive. Everybody get positive thoughts for Joseph, and hopefully we
a
find
speedy
out that
recovery for Rosetto, and hopefully Sosa, and honestly, man, I just hope like the squad just like is able to come together, man, and start performing well. Honestly, man, the quality is there, man. Honestly, we have plenty of quality. It's just the guy is willing to fight for it, the hunger. That's all it really comes down to, man.
to you, Joseph.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Tommy, man. Well, thank you for for being here, man. And until the next one, guys. Hopefully, we get the 3 points against Charlotte, and next week we're here, celebrating about coming back home against Cincy and having the 3 points. And until next one, guys. And thank you, Tommy, man.
See ya.
All right, dude.